The following program was produced by an independent community producer. The opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the ECAT staff or board of directors. Lighting for ECAT production provided by the Avery Lee Williams Family Foundation.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Topic Time with Harrison Young. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to, I cannot believe, but the final Topic Time show of November, 2 days before Thanksgiving. So I get to take a little rest, but it'll be worth it. But I'll never burn out, you know how it is. And we have an awesome show. We're going back to the Garden State of New Jersey tonight. We have a comedian, and I just found him the other day, and he's gonna crack us up. But before we get to him, got to read these incredible underwriters. Got some new ones. So we have New York Pizza in Mansfield, they're a new one. We have Boston Auto Group right here in Northeastern. We have Auntie Zaz's Fiberworks Yarn Shop, also here in Northeastern. We have the Salon Catherine in Brockton. We have Gene Hardy Flooring in West Bridgewater, great to have them back. We have Mulberry Frozen Yogurt in Raynham. They're going to be closed from November 14th. I think it's going to be November 28th to December 14th, but they'll be back making delicious yogurts. Yep, it's right here. In Raynham, we got Eli's Auto Care in Taunton. We got Brian's Barbershop in Kingston. We have Auto Clinic and Inspection in Rockland. We have New England Floorscapes in Middleborough. We have Leandro's Italian Restaurant. Leandro's fine Italian restaurant right in Southeastern. Great to have them back. We have One Good Credit in Brockton. We have Diesel Plus Unlimited in Whitman. Diesel Plus Unlimited. We have G Monster Junk Removal out of Foxborough. Glenn Krieger, proprietor. He's a new one. We have Lynch's Towing Auto Cycle and Truck Center in Brockton, one number for projects, one number for towing. My pal Lynchy there is always looking for new scrap metal wheels, anything to do with transportation. He handles it all. We have the Riverside Cafe in Wareham. They make delicious breakfast they have the best breakfast in Boston and the Cape. They're open 6 days a week, all except Wednesday, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m., and they deliver, as I said. And we have the good old Dave's Automotive, and that Riverside Cafe is in Wareham. Dave's Automotive, good old Dave's Automotive in Hanson on Route 58. We have Pal's Driving School in Middleborough, setting up classes for February and April of 2025. Better get on that website. We have Furnace Brook Motors here in Easton. They're looking to do a raffle with a raffle off an oil change, a free one if they start one. And that's what they wanted me to present to them. So then we have them. We have the Whoop Whoop Hair Salon in Stoughton. They're a new one. We have Mim's Cuban Cafe in Rockland. We have Tom Otto in Middleborough. We have Hartley's Jamaican Restaurant in Brockton. They're in the one. We have X Drive Motors Incorporated in West Bridgewater. We have RW Carpet and Flooring in Norton, covering floors for 50 years. We have the Country Whip Sweet Shop in Acushnet. We have Kingston Auto Body in Kingston. We have the Cornerstone Barbershop in Pembroke. We have Grant's Rental in Bridgewater. We have Salon Giovanni in Marshfield. We have Doggy Boutique, all breed professional grooming for dogs and cats, run by my great next-door neighbor, Debbie Siddell in Brockton. We have Countertops Express in North Attleboro, experts in the installation and removal of quartz and granite. We have Haven Psychiatric Services right here in the building in room 211. We have Hairway to Heaven Family Hair Salon in Norwell. We have DNS Auto Works and Collision Specialists in Abington, also in room 58. And we have Joe's Diner in Taunton. And we have my brother, Evan Young, the Realtor. And I want to thank all you guys so much. And now my guest, Mr. Joe Scrocca Jr., is that it?
That's it.
Okay. And
thank you for having me. I'm very appreciative of you having me and listing me as an iconic stand-up comic. That's a first. Thank you.
Well, I list everybody as iconic because, to me, everybody that does my show, it pushes me forward to the pinnacle, to a new pinnacle of success. And I think I'm doing the same for them. So to that end, I think of myself as an icon, and I think of the people I interview as an icon. I'm great and you're great. It's all it is, basically.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. But
okay.
So you're in Boston, but you have the Eiffel Tower back there now. Did they move that to Boston, or is that just
no? That's a green screen. Have you ever been on TV before? I'm sure you have.
I'm kidding.
No, I know you're
Remember, I'm a
kidding. I
comedian.
think they have a really nice setup for me here. I mean, as you can see, they got the logo behind me over my right shoulder.
Yep.
And, you know, and they can put anything you want, and there's what's really behind me is just a green screen, but they can put anything on there. And they give me some great backdrops. I don't know if you've ever been up here before, but this is the town of Easton, Massachusetts, and we have a lot of beautiful backdrops. And we just got this state-of-the-art equipment, this new stuff a few months ago. Before this, they were pretty much just giving me like a lot of the parks, and, you know, because we have quite a few of them in the neighborhood, including one right across the road. But this is kind of like a step up too. Just like you know, everybody that does my show helps me ascend to a new pinnacle, and I help them. So if they want to put the parks back up, that'll work for me. But if not, that's fine too.
Now, listen, I always try to promote other comics, everybody that with shows that have had me on, even shows that don't have me on. That, you know, just I'm friends with the people. You know, it's this.
Well,
this is about networking and helping one another.
I happen to know it is. It's true, and I noticed you had a billboard. You have a segment going with about 5 other people at a show coming up at the end of the. Well, we are at the end of the month. Is it like the end, on weekend or what? I noticed you had like 6 people on your docket that I saw. You and 5 other people, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's you mean as far as the shows, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I've got a show this Friday in Long Island, and then Sunday I'm down with a bunch of great comics down in Richmond, Virginia.
Okay.
But every show has at least 4 or 5, you know, comics on the roster, and some of them I know, some of them I don't know, but you know, they're all great, and you know, some of them struggle to be funny, but you know, I respect everybody that gets on that stage and gets behind that microphone, because I know it's something very few people can do. And, you know, I think that the comics that I work with are very professional. They're very funny. And, you know, they've got the guts to do what a lot of people, the majority of people are afraid to do.
Yeah, and because they can't, because they're afraid they're not going to get laughs. And I tell you what, I mean, I would love to try stand-up comedy myself, but I don't know how long I can keep people laughing. I mean, here's the thing. In life is a comedy of errors every day. I mean, the stuff, let's face it, everything we do is comical, just even if everybody does stuff that's disgusting because it's part of our nature. And that in and of itself is funny if you like Howard Stern, which I do. Right, so, but to go up on stage and talk about it, which I'd love to do, like little kids do, and laugh their heads off, I don't know if it would work with adults. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, you know, give it a try. Do an open mic.
No, but I like what I'm doing now, though. I know what you're saying. You're right. I mean, I never thought I'd be doing this. I have autism, and I'm high on the spectrum. So the fact that I'm doing a show like this is pretty special after all this time as well. So,
but you know, I never thought I'd be doing this. I mean, I'm 63.
Yep.
I woke up one morning in December of last year and said, I'm sick of dating crazy women, and I wanted to do something fun. Why not stand-up comedy? How hard could that be? And I'm almost a year into it, and you know, it's crazy.
All right. Well, I was just about to ask you. I know you started it recently. What was your inspiration to start it? You were just retired from something else you were doing?
No, I'm still a mortgage broker.
Okay.
But I was tired of dating crazy women. And I mean, I don't know if it's just New Jersey, but everybody I talk to says, oh no, they're all crazy. And so it was just, I wanted something as a distraction, so I wouldn't be wondering, oh, should I just keep dating? Because, you know, I'm one of those people that can't be alone. I like to be out. I like to be with people. It doesn't necessarily have to be a date. But I thought, you know, being forced to go out 2-3 times a week to do an open mic or do a show, that would be a way to do it. And I had no idea how it would, whether I'd be successful or a huge failure. I never did it before. I never entertained before. People say, oh my God, you're living your dream. This time last year, I wasn't even thinking of this. So to say I'm living a dream wouldn't be accurate. It's one of those things where I just wanted something to occupy my time. I figured I'd do a few open mics, maybe a show or two, and say, okay, I got it out of my system, and let me go back to dating. And I said, no, you know what? That laughter, when you can make people laugh, it is an addiction, and it's better than dating, at least in my experience.
Okay, well, wait a minute. All right, let's. Now, I have to try to draw a parallel with my life and yours. For instance, you're telling me that the only reason you started stand-up comedy was because you were sick of dating crazy women. Is that what you just said?
That's exactly what I said.
Okay, well, let me ask you something. I'd love to date any woman, never mind crazy one. Do you have any crazy ones you can send me? Or even just one crazy one?
If you send me a bus ticket, I'll send a couple up to you.
Well, before, well,
But
I mean, I,
you trust me, you will not thank me. You'll say, Joe, what the heck did you do?
well, it all depends. Well, okay. I'd have to do a little research first. You'd have to send me a couple of pictures. And
Oh, they're all beautiful. Let me tell you, they're the women who I dated. They're beautiful,
do you
but
have
they're
children?
crazy.
You ever married? Do you have children?
I was married 31 and a half years. My wife passed away 10 years ago,
Oh,
10 and a
yeah.
half years ago.
Okay.
So, my wife looked at me before she died. She said, listen, you can't be alone. You need to make sure you can find somebody to take care of you.
Wow.
So I know that she's happy. And I was with a woman for almost 9 years. But, she really started to get crazier and started to get into a depression. And I thought, I can't, life's too short to be saddled with this. So I broke up with her,
Yeah.
dated a couple other women short term. And it just got to a point where I said, it's not even fun. It's not enjoyable. I dread picking them up and taking them out on dates. I need to do something. I need to do something fun that gets me out of the house that doesn't involve dating women.
Well, when you get up on stage and do your comedy, does that include taking, I don't want to say taking shots, but you do describe these dates, right?
Oh, absolutely. I talk
Okay.
about my dating life and the crazy women, and like you said earlier, the things that have happened in your life. There's a lot of funny stuff. That's what my comedy is based on. It's stories about my crazy life. The crazy thing. I mean, I'm 63, so I've had a lot of crazy stuff happen to me, and I've been able to put it into stage format. Short, concise, funny, and that's what my comedy is based on.
Yeah,
And
okay.
people have come up to me and said, you never once said this is a true story, and you don't have to, because the way you tell it, we can tell this stuff really happened to you. You can't make this up.
Okay. Well, the idea is I would think that when you're up on stage, it's not so much whether it's true or not, it's how the audience responds. Isn't that right? Well, you tell me.
Oh, it's got to be funny. If they're not
Exactly.
laughing, then it doesn't matter whether it's true or you made the whole thing up.
Right.
But I think what I meant by that is that it's just the way this flows. They see me on stage telling it like if we were sitting at a bar and I was telling you about my crazy day, what crazy thing happened to me today, and that's how I guess I because I have no formal training. I never acted. I never did drama in school. I never got behind a microphone before. Didn't take a course. I didn't read a book. I didn't watch a video. I literally said, I'm going to try this. And I went and I did an open mic. And December 14th, 2023, I went and did my first open mic.
I did a
And it
show that
ended up
night. I
being a
remember it
biker
well. It was a
bar.
Thursday.
I'm sorry?
It was a Thursday. I did a show that
It was a
night.
Thursday because I had a 5-minute set the next night at a little comedy club in my hometown of Wildwood, New Jersey. And the guy that owned the club, I would go there and watch comics. And I said to him, I said, I would love to get I'd love to get 5 minutes. And he said, send me something. So I taped myself, and he said, you're hilarious. You have your 5 minutes. I said, I never did this before, so I better do an open mic to make sure I have even where to talk into the microphone. I've never held a microphone, never talked into, so I did the open mic. So I found an open mic in Toms River, New Jersey at this pub, and then end up being a biker bar. So, you get over the jitters of getting on stage and trying to be funny. And then you look out and it's a sea of a notorious New Jersey biker club.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
and that's exactly how it happened. That's a true story.
Well, that was
And
was that your first open mic, you said, on December 14th?
that was my very first open mic, my very first time I ever got behind a microphone. Yeah.
Okay, well,
December
I
14th.
imagine they were tough critics, but if you made them laugh, then that must have gotten you through a lot of your butterflies, right?
What I tell people, the truth of the matter is that they were kind of sitting, in another section. They were in the room, but they were sitting in another section. They weren't even paying attention to me.
Yep.
They were probably plotting their next crime.
Yep. Okay. Were they like Hell's Angels? I imagine it must have
The pagans.
Well, when you got to the club, did you know it was a bikie bar before you got
No,
there?
there was a lot in the back where they were parked. I had no idea.
Wow.
And then
Okay.
I walked into one section, and then went where the stage was. It was another section, and that's where they all were.
Okay. Well, how did
But
it?
listen, I did it. I got out alive.
Yeah, that's what I was. That would. I mean, you obviously did, and that's great. Obviously, that you didn't get whacked afterwards.
And believe me, that was on my mind.
Wow, I'm
Am I going
sure.
to say something that's going to upset the wrong guy here? And am I going to get,
You're not going
you
to get
know,
on with your life. I know. Well, what I would think that given your history with crazy dates, that what you'd want to do is get up on stage and inspire a nice date. I mean, how about that? How's that worked for you, or hasn't it?
well, you know, you, I didn't even know where to start. I had stuff written down. I had bullet points written down,
Okay.
and they just kept me up there. I mean, it was supposed to be 5 minutes. 15 minutes later, they're
Wow.
like, yeah, keep going, keep going, keep going. And I'm like, okay. And I'm just, there's a point where I just started pulling stuff out of, oh yeah, this is what happened to me yesterday.
Okay. It's
And,
better if
and
it's better if you can do it spontaneously than you have to write it down. Obviously, like I do my show spontaneously. I never write anything down. I never know how it's going to go. Like you said, it's free flowing. But it sounds to me like you if you have the gift of gab, then you can. I mean, I think you have to make people think you're sweet before you can make them, or not sweet, but you have to get their respect first, and then you can make them
yeah, I
laugh.
mean, what I learned is you have to get that first laugh right away.
Oh yeah, I
Because if you
imagine.
don't, you're going to lose the audience.
Yeah.
So what I always try to do now is wherever I'm at, I try to do something local about the club, about something that might have just happened in the town, or, and it seems to go over well because everybody that's there can relate to it because I'm talking about something that they pretty much all know about. And then I go right into my routine, but I don't use notes. I did a show last Thursday up in New York City with a comic, very funny lady, but she had 5 pages of notes with her. And I'm like, you can't go up. I mean, if you're doing an open mic, sure, you can bring notes because it's a lot of new material.
Right.
But if you're doing a show and she was the headliner, you can't bring notes up with you. You've got to memorize that stuff.
That wouldn't
So
have
I
been
tried to
Helene
help
Witt,
her.
was that Helene Witt? What you're talking about?
No, it wasn't Helene, but Helene was on the show.
Okay.
Now Helene's a true professional. I love Helene.
Yep, she did my show a few weeks ago. That's why I thought it might have been her. And she's in your
Yeah,
neighborhood.
she was on the, it's funny you mention that though. She was on the show.
Yep.
She closed out the show. I opened the show. So
Okay.
what I do is I do a set list every time I go up, but it's just bullet points. And I know what the story is from those bullet points. So I
Right.
memorize the bullet points. And then there's times I've read the audience and said, you know what, I'm going to go to this one next, but I don't think they're going to like it. So I switch it up. So I've been able to read audiences and switch up my set list, in the middle of a show, based on the audience's reaction to some of my stuff.
Okay, that's interesting. So you're flexible, and it's almost like you learn how to drive a standard car, and you have to go into shift and pull the clutch back and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
And I don't even know how to do that, by the way.
Or you're going left and you realize, hey, I've got to go right. They're not they're not digging this material. Let me go, because I've got different, I've got different things I talk about, but everything's based in truth. Of course, most of the stuff I embellish to make it funny.
Yep.
But a lot of it, every one of my stories has some basis in truth. And they say you want me to do stand-ups. I'll do one that's clean for you. And it's a true story. When I was a little kid, my mother she bought me this shirt that said, hello, my name is Joseph John. She really didn't think I knew my name. So I say, when I was a kid, my mother didn't think I knew my main name. She bought me this ridiculous shirt that said, hello, my name is Joseph John. And as I could think back on it, she was serving me up to the pedophiles on a silver platter with that stupid shirt.
Wow.
And I talk about walking to school with it, walking home from school, and a weird guy in a van pulls up. Hey, Joseph John, why don't you get in the van? I've got some candy. Hey, Joseph John, why don't you get in the van? I've got a puppy. And I had no idea who he was talking to. My mother was right. I didn't know my name. So that's, so I get into that, and then I have a call back a little bit down the road where I go back to that. And it usually gets a real good laugh. So, it's just, there was no pedophile. There was no guy in a van, but there was a shirt. And my mother bought it for me.
Oh, I see what you did. You embellished it, you said. You created a scenario out of your mind, or in your, when you're thinking, well, it's unusual, it's original, and at the very worst, people are going to be at least intrigued by it, if not. Because sometimes I think that when you stand up, when you talk to people, you do have to just reel them in, and not because I've seen stand-up comedians that don't get laugh after laugh after laugh, but so what happens is you sort of think they're getting to a point where you think, oh, they're going to make something they're going to say is going to crack me up in a minute, and sooner or later something makes you laugh a little bit. And some of them are so outrageous that you just can't help laughing, like the Dice Man.
Every audience is different.
Right.
Every audience has a different appetite for what humor they like. I don't do anything that's offensive. I don't do anything that's going to get me canceled. I don't do anything to try to hurt anybody.
That's great.
But I think, people will go out and try to, try to get offended because that's what their goal is. They came out tonight not to laugh, but to get offended and complain or heckle or whatnot. Now, I will tell you, I've done, not including open mics, not including festivals or contests, I've done close to 60 shows this year. It's my first year doing 60 shows, a lot of them paid
That's
gigs.
incredible.
And I've never not gotten a laugh. I've never gotten heckled. I've never gotten booed. I actually did a show where they brought me out for an encore because I was so funny. People wanted to hear more of my material. So, I mean, I guess for whatever reason, I'm able to tell these stories, tell them funny, and get people to laugh. And sure, you'll sit there and, you think you're going to get a laugh and it lands and it's flat. And I've seen a lot of comics, especially younger comics, get an attitude with the audience. And you can never do that. Listen, the audience is going to tell you what's funny. You can't tell the audience what's funny, no matter how funny you think it is. So if that happens, I just go on to the next thing and boom, the laughs usually resume. Well, so, I'm not going to let that bother me. But I've seen a lot of younger comics let that bother them. And then what ends up happening is they go and really start getting into it with the audience. And once you do that, I think you lose the audience. Then forget it. They're purposely, they're not going to laugh.
Right. Yeah, that's right. You don't want to piss them off, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I get you. No, I understand. That's something I'd worry about too if I was going to try it. I mean, I'd rather just get up on stage and start talking, spouting philosophy at first, because everybody, when you pop ideas into people's heads that they can relate to, that they think, well, nobody talks about this, but I think about it all the time. That in a sense, that to me would be something that would reel them in. But that's how I would go about it if I were going to. And I don't even see myself trying that, but just that's probably the way I would go.
Well, I hope you change your mind because I think you'd be very funny at it. I think, but if you do, just go out there. I do this because I have fun.
Yeah,
I do this because I needed it's something to get away from, dating crazy women. And, but when it's not fun anymore, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
Hopefully this will progress and I'll continue, getting shows and doing bigger shows and better shows to bigger audiences farther out. I mean, I've been down as far south as Florida performing. I've been as far north as Connecticut. Wow. I hope to come up your way sometime in the second quarter next year. I was thinking first quarter, but I thought I don't want to deal with the bad weather up there.
Well, yeah, come up in the spring. We'll wait till the summer.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've noticed that you mentioned you've done Virginia, and you've really covered a lot of turf so far. You've gone like a couple of thousand miles, right?
Oh yeah, my poor car is 5 months old. It's got 26,000 miles on it, and I bought it with 0 miles. It was brand new.
Wow. Okay.
So, but it's what I choose to do. I love doing it.
You're obviously successful. That's incredible.
Well, I think if you're going to do something, if you're not going to do it to be successful, then you shouldn't, why are you doing it? I mean, I say I do this for fun, but I would like to push this and see how far I can take it. Yeah. But when it stops being fun, when it really becomes a grind and a job, and I hate driving to gigs and I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, that's right. You got to figure, but it sounds like since you started it, it's been flourishing.
Yeah, I mean, again, I come from the business world. I'm an accountant by education. I own a mortgage company. So I've always been in business. I've always known how to network. And I don't care what business you're in, whether it's comedy, mortgages, accounting, whatever. Networking is very important. And
I know.
That's how I get these gigs.
That's
I mean,
true.
people say to me, oh, my God, I've been trying to get in this place for 3 years. You got in. How did you get in? I asked. I may be pestered, and I may be called 2-3 times, emailed a couple of times, but I finally, got in. and now people are calling me, but I'm still making the bulk of the call. People say, oh my God, with all the shows you're doing, what kind of an agent do you have? No, me, I'm the agent. I sit here during the day and I just reach out to people, and I've got shows booked out through May of 2025 already.
Wow, that's incredible. And do you have now? Have you ever done anything else in entertainment? Have you ever played music? Have you ever played sports?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I didn't even, in music class in school, I didn't even play an instrument. I was that lacked such talent.
Okay.
I mean, when I tell you this was a fluke. It wasn't an itch. It wasn't a dream. It was just, I need to do something to get out of the house.
Okay, and to stop dating crazy women. Have you? Now we're under 5 minutes of the show. I hope you had fun talking to me. I just noticed that we're up to 25
Yes.
minutes. Have you gotten any? I'm just wondering, but you didn't. I wasn't sure if you said that you got a nice date from your show so far, like a nice groupie who turns out to be somebody that you might want to date at some point, or that she will date you.
I talk to people after the show, but I don't. One thing that I found early on is that it's difficult even trying to date somebody that's in the audience, because they think who they see on stage is who you are.
Right.
And that's a character. Now, I'm still a funny person, but would I be able to convince you that I'm relatively a shy person? That I'm not the life of the party, that I'm not the guy that goes out there with the lampshade on his head, that I just kind of sit back in a corner and just, talk to people, but I'm not like some boisterous outgoing person.
Right.
But the person that's on stage is.
Yeah, I know, that's your character.
he-
Okay, so you created a
but-
character, and you've
and
done it out
but
of
but
absolutely
but
thin air.
but I am dating a woman. In all fairness, I am dating a woman. I've been dating her since June.
Oh,
She
great.
is crazy.
Okay.
She's half Italian, half Polish.
Wow.
So I always say she knows how to cook. She just doesn't know what to cook. But
There you go.
and
Saving the best for last, are you?
but she's funny. She's a wonderful person. She's crazy like me. I really say she's the female version of me. I will tell you, she's got such a wonderful, positive attitude. She's a 2-time cancer survivor.
Wow.
She was in a very bad car accident. Really did some major head trauma, and she's still recovering from that. It's 99% recovered, but and if there's anybody in the world that I know that has license to complain, it would be her, and she doesn't. She's just happy. She just wants to go out and have fun, be treated like a person, and we have a great time. We really do. And she supports my comedy. That's another thing. Since I started doing comedy, I've dated a few women. One woman, after the second date, wanted me to quit doing stand-up because she wanted me all to herself. And I said, listen, I love doing stand-up, but it's not fair. I said, listen, if I had a crystal ball and I could see 5 years down the road and we were happy together and had a great life, yeah, I would quit, because I don't need to do comedy. It's not something that I'm like, oh my God, this is my living, my what I have to do to survive. I just enjoy it. I have a great time. I have a lot of fun. I meet great people. But I thought it was really rude. And I even talked to a couple other comics that I knew. And I said, I'm too new to this to know, is this normal to people? And they all said, listen, if she can't support you, if you love doing comedy and she can't support you in it, she's the wrong person for you. And they were right. And then I found somebody now with Tina who does support my comedy, and we're having a great time.
Well, it sounds like you made it work. You got a great woman, and you got a great career. And now I want you, as we're in the final 2 minutes, give a few shouts out to people, including to her, and then we're going to wrap the show up with my music the way we started it.
What do you want me to do? I'm sorry.
Give shouts out to a few people. Just condense them. Shouts out.
Oh, so shout out?
Yeah, we're gonna get a lot of hits.
Yeah, so shout out to Tina. Shout out to Joe Losner, who's Meadowlands Comedy, who's actually putting together a great show for me on December 14th, my 1-year anniversary to the date. He's having me headline a show up at Meadowlands at a place called Fat Bastards. No reference to me. And, so many people. But my son, Joey, Elijah the Barber, who was a great comedian who took a chance on me. I think my 6th show, I did at his venue, and they were like, "This guy's new. We don't know if he's going to bomb." And they loved me. It was probably the best show that I've done in terms of, just the audience loving me, the booker loving me. I've been back. I mean, I've got a list. We don't have enough time. I want to thank you. Certainly, I want to thank you for having me on the show.
Okay, thank you.
I love being on this show. And do we have time for me to do a quick one?
One quick joke. Go ahead.
So I don't do drugs. I've never done drugs, never been high. And I performed at this venue where they're allowed to smoke marijuana. In New Jersey, it's legal.
Yep.
So there was no ventilation, and I got what's called the hot box. And I had no idea what was going on. I had no idea what it felt to be high. And I made the mistake of getting into my car. Now, where I was a 30-minute drive to my house. I knew how to get there backwards. I got lost. 3 hours later, I'm like, I don't know where I am. I pull over, pull out my phone, put my home address in my phone in the GPS. I hit start. It said, "You've arrived at your destination." I was sitting in my driveway and had no idea I was sitting in my driveway.
Good stuff. All right. Listen, we're gonna wrap the show up. Will you stick around and do pics for Facebook? I'll have my tech guy take it, and you can tag me, and I'll tag you.
Absolutely.
All right, folks. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you after the holiday and for more great shows. Snap, falling up and snap. I'm rolling up and snapping out. There we go.
Lighting for ECAT production provided by the Avery Lee Williams Family Foundation.